Alright, so this is episode 10 of the Berserk 1997 anime. As a reminder, Griffith wants Guts to kill the man second in line to the throne, Count Julius. Guts sneaks up on the rooftops as he notices Julius having a sparring match with his son, Adonis. After knocking down his son, Julius grabs him by the hair and calls him a disgrace. Fatherly love, you know what I mean? Hassan wants Julius to show the boy some mercy, but Julius cannot let up since he'll be the future leader of the White Dragon Knights, and possibly even Princess Charlotte's spouse, i.e. the future King of Midland. After being beaten up again, Adonis is consoled by Hassan, who instructs him not to resent his father. Meanwhile, we notice Guts watching/listening into all this. Now at this point, we have a divergence. In the anime, we cut to a scene with Griffith attending a banquet. At said banquet, he meets Laban and Owen, two high-ranking military officials. Now in the manga, we don't meet these two until chapter 23, the Battle for Duldry. And I believe there's also anime original content in which we meet them again before that battle. So once again, like Bascan, these two are showing up in the manga a little bit earlier than expected. Now in the manga, before Guts assassinates Julius, he has a brief moment in which he thinks about his relationship with Gambino, and how it's very similar to Adonis' relationship with Julius. This is really important in my mind because it establishes a bit of empathy. Guts is seeing himself in Adonis' shoes, which makes the next set of events feel all the more impactful. Because for Guts, he's beginning to have second thoughts in his mind about what he's about to do, and it sort of plants the seeds for his eventual departure from the Band of the Hawk. Now, inside the estate, Hassan implores Julius to have more restraint with his son, and Julius seems to agree with this. Julius then stares into the fire and is reminded of Griffith's piercing gaze. After which, Guts then enters the room, fully cloaked to conceal his identity. Julius attempts to defend himself, but Guts is much too fast, as he slices him across the chest. With the hood falling off of Guts' head, Julius determines that he's one of Griffith's men as he falls to his death. Adonis then peeks his head through the door, wondering what's going on, as he calls for help. But Guts drives his sword right into the center of his chest. Now in the manga, Miura obscured Adonis' features in the shadows, so it was reasonable to assume that Guts couldn't identify who he was. Whereas in the anime, Adonis is fully revealed within the light. So it seems rather odd that Guts would just drive his sword into him mindlessly and then be shocked that he killed the boy. I mean, unless Guts has really bad vision and he just couldn't make out his features. But when you look at these images side by side, it almost seems unequivocal. It's like, how could he make that mistake? Because Miura's intention is to make it seem like a mistake. Guts was generally surprised that he killed the boy, but in the anime, I don't know, I mean, it almost seems a little more intentional. Guts then holds the dying boy's hand briefly before he passes away. He then fights his way through the estate by slashing anyone that gets in his way. Now after seeing what the intruder did, Hassan demands that they kill him before he escapes. Guts evades all his captors and eventually kicks his way into a sewer. Unfortunately though, he hits his head on the back of a rock and gets knocked out. Guts then dreams of training with Gambino, similar to how Adonis was just training with his father. A shadowy figure resembling Zod stabs Gambino and eventually does the same to Guts. Now when the camera zooms in on the monster's face, we see that it's Zod's body with Guts' face on it, which is implying that Guts is starting to turn into a monster. Because he's become a tool for Griffith, a tool for Griffith's dream that is, he's tossed morality to the side. And again, this is planting the seeds for Guts' eventual departure. Inside of a tavern, Casca excoriates Guts for not showing up to join practice today. The disheveled Guts then enters the tavern and wonders where Griffith is at. Guts then heads over to the ball, and walks towards Griffith with the intention of talking to him. Casca stops him, saying that he'll embarrass Griffith in his current state. Charlotte then expresses her dissatisfaction with war and Man's barbarous side. Now Griffith says that Man has a savage side to protect that which he considers most precious, and for him, it's to accomplish his dream. Now for some people, they only see life and death, and in Griffith's mind, they're already dead since they have no dreams. And this really hits home for Guts. Griffith then tells Charlotte that his fellow soldiers are not friends. For a true friend is someone who has their own reason for living, a reason beyond him. The Band of the Hawk lives to serve Griffith's dream, so therefore they are precluded from being his friend. And again, if we remember the last episode, Griffith calling Guts his friend was kind of a weird thing. I mean, it's something that they really should have got rid of in the anime. Now, for someone to truly be Griffith's friend, they have to be equal to him in every regard. News then comes in that Count Julius was assassinated, along with his son. And Griffith is quite happy by this, as it means his plan has come to fruition. Sometime later, Griffith meets up with Minister Foss. Now, Foss speculates that the one who attempted to kill Griffith during the autumn hunt was not a Tudor spy, but in fact someone within the Midland court. Griffith brushes this off, as Foss begins to wonder if Griffith suspects him. And sure enough, Griffith stares down Foss with the same gaze that he gave Julius prior to having him killed. So for those who haven't seen the anime in full, you have to wonder at this point, is Foss next on Griffith's hit list? And this episode ends with Guts staring up at his sword. So this episode saw quite a few differences from the manga. But anyway, with that, on to episode 11. Before Griffith heads off into battle, Princess Charlotte offers him a keepsake from her mother. Griffith will hold on to the keepsake for now, but vows to return it once he has completed his campaign. Charlotte then implores Casca to protect Lord Griffith, as Casca says that she will do so with her life. The queen then excoriates Charlotte for giving a gift away to a man born from humble origins. Now, as Griffith and the Band of the Hawk head out, they added a couple of extra scenes in the anime, but nothing of consequence. They then confront the Blue Whale Knights as the skies above look quite ominous. Casca then complains of abdominal pain, as it seems like she's having her period. The two sides begin their charge as a massive onslaught ensues. And goddamn, the anime does an amazing job with this sequence. I mean, it is so freaking good. Especially the music playing in the background, it just really matches that scene nicely. I believe it's called Murder from the Berserk soundtrack, and it just hits all the right notes, especially in this scene right here. Now in the anime, Judo finds himself in a bit of trouble, but Rickert comes to his rescue. Chadley Rickert doing Chadley things, I mean, what else is new? Adon then makes his way over to Casca, and starts to degrade her based on the fact that she's a woman. Furthermore, he insinuates that Casca is using sexual favors to ascend the ranks in the military. In Casca's weakened condition, Adon takes the upper hand. Now, even though Mira paints Adon as a buffoon, he does have a reasonable amount of strength and skill. I mean, he takes one swing and just annihilates several members of the Band of the Hawk, so, you can't mess with him. He might be a buffoon, but he's definitely strong. Adon then antagonizes Casca some more before going in for the final blow. Luckily for her, Guts is there to protect her from danger. Guts pushes Adon back and says he wants to keep fighting until the voices are all gone. Adon then tries out his secret technique, Ganzan Senpu, otherwise known as the rock-cutting whirlwind. Guts cuts through his weapon with ease, stopping him dead in his tracks. Casca's stamina eventually runs out as she begins falling off of the cliff's edge. Guts grabs onto her as Adon shoots an arrow in his left side. Well, it's the left side in the anime, but it's the right side in the manga. The two fall into the river as the rain starts coming down. Guts pulls her out and starts giving her CPR. After stabilizing her, he realizes that she has a fever and takes her inside of a tree hollow to dry out. Realizing she's gonna get sick, he takes off her clothes as well. And upon doing this, it's revealed that she's bleeding from her vagina, which makes Guts instantly realize how hard it is to be a woman. Griffith hears the news, as two Midland soldiers say that if they are truly the strongest soldiers within the Band of the Hawk, they should make it through this ordeal with ease. And with this, the episode ends with Guts cradling Casca within the tree. So episode 12 starts with a flashback, with Griffith imploring Casca to do as she wishes with her own life from now on. Now the first difference is that Casca's body is covered with Guts' cloak, as opposed to Leaf's in the manga. The second difference is that we don't get a full view of Casca's breasts like we did in the manga. Casca gets upset by the situation and starts throwing various materials at him, including a knife. Guts says she's acting irrationally as she reminds him that she didn't ask to be a woman. After Casca calms down a bit, she reveals that she joined the Band of the Hawk because of Griffith. Now Casca comes from humble beginnings, with her village being raided constantly and many people dying of famine. One day, a nobleman offered to take Casca in as a servant. However, it didn't take long before the nobleman attempted to rape Casca in the carriage. Now look, rape is an absolutely terrible thing, but why did that nobleman try to rape her right there and then? Why didn't he wait till, he got her back to his castle, in the dead of night or something? What? I don't know, he just couldn't help himself? I mean, Jesus Christ, man, keep it in your pants for 5 minutes. Anyway, back on track. Just before the nobleman has his way with her, Griffith steps in to stop things. But instead of killing the man, he throws down his sword and implores Casca to protect that which is important to her. After killing the nobleman, Griffith implores her to do as she wishes. And from this day forward, she decides to join the Band of the Hawk. The Hawk eventually takes a job from a sleazy man with sordid taste in young boys, Genin, the governor of Doldry Castle. Later on, Griffith mourns over the body of a dead boy who died because of his dream. Not long after that, Casca finds out that Griffith was raising money by indulging in Gennin's sexual perversions. He later reveals that he's doing this for hundreds, no thousands of lives that hang in the balance because of his decisions. Now, here's a pretty important difference. In the anime, Griffith says that he'd rather sacrifice himself than watch any other innocent people die in the name of his dream.
But I'd rather sacrifice myself than watch any more innocent children die in the name of my dream.
This line of dialogue just does not exist within the manga, and for good reason. I mean, we all know that he's going to sacrifice the entire band of the Hawk for his dream. So why even put that out there? Why even say, I'd rather sacrifice myself? Like, we know that's not true, unless, like, the anime is trying to intentionally subvert you and try to make you think that he's going to be this nice guy for the entire anime and nothing's ever going to happen. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I guess it does come off as more shocking, but again, kind of like the whole friend thing in the previous episode, it's not really in line with his philosophy. I mean, for example, if he truly believed this, he would have had no problem with Guts leaving the Band of the Hawk. Because if he truly wanted to sacrifice himself for others, then he would make sure that the safety of others is paramount. But we all know that Griffith is going to do whatever it takes to achieve his dream. And it is kind of an interesting thing because I have noticed this with the manga and the anime. The manga definitely gives you a lot of clues that Griffith is going to go through this evil transformation at some point. I mean, obviously, if you read the manga, you read the Black Swordsman arc, so you know what's going to happen anyway. But there's these little scenes where you see the evilness of Griffith permeating up to the surface. Whereas in the anime, they really go out of their way to make him seem like this nice guy. So, just a different taste, I guess. I mean, I wish maybe they would fix a little bit of it, but at the end of the day, I mean, the 1997 anime is still goated in my opinion. So, yeah, let's move on. Now, Casca believes in Griffith's dream with all her heart, and wants to be by his side as his metaphorical sword. Now, she reveals that she became envious of Guts when he won his praise so easily. Now, in the anime, Casca uses the word despise Guts, whereas in the anime, she envies Guts. It's a small difference, but despise almost means like, you just hate someone for no good reason whatsoever. And Casca did have a good reason. She envied Guts. She wanted to be in Guts' position. She wanted Griffith to trust her like he trusted Guts. And Guts won that praise and that adulation so easily, whereas she worked for years with Griffith and, couldn't get it. So I think the wording probably should have stuck with the original translation there. Now, Casca won't let Guts take Griffith's dream down, as she wonders why he's so important to him. Guts then hides Casca from some Tudor soldiers, as he says they're going to make their escape at nightfall. And with that, that's the end of episode 12.